What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Ready for China. RAF joins US and Australia for largest allied air exercise ever. I'm excited to see this. Before we do though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got?
The bright lights and bling of Las Vegas. But as revelers risk their dollars on the edge of town, warfighters are taking to the skies.
Dang!
By night and by day, American, Australian and British crews set out on sorties in the biggest air combat training exercise anywhere in the world. This
crazy.
is Red Flag.
My job is to train the coalition air forces to the most advanced adversary that we possibly can.
It's probably the most demanding and challenging exercise from an aircrew perspective.
Very, very stressful, and that's the whole point.
This huge exercise happens every year, but 2023 has been different. So we're going to find out why.
That there is Las Vegas. You can see how close we are to the city itself. And over this way, the vast expanse of the Nevada desert. And today's missions are just beginning.
Jeez. Conquer the tyranny of distance. Nations involved: US, Australia, UK. Personnel 3,000. Airspace 36,000 square miles. Oh my God. That personnel is crazy. 3,000?
Red Flag began almost half a century ago when the US military realized from Vietnam that if pilots survived their first 10 missions, the chances were they'd survive the war. Red Flag was born to simulate those first 10 perilous sorties.
Red Flag, the most realistic combat training exercise ever developed.
Today, the exercise is bigger than ever. There's now 3 a year. This is Red Flag 1, and it's huge.
So this is the British flight line. We've got all our Typhoons nicely lined up. Next to us are the Australians. They've brought their 4 Growlers with them. And beyond them are the US. Now there's around 100 jets here, and this stretches for over a mile.
Although the goal remains the same, after years of looking eastward, now attention turns to a new threat.
The red flag scenarios during Red Flag 23-1 are 100% focused on the pacing challenge in China. We present the blue participants with both offensive and defensive counter-air problem sets every training period that they're participating in.
The big challenge now is what the Americans call the tyranny of distance, the miles a task force would need to cover just to reach the fight. They could also be operating over water, not land, and potentially fighting a well-equipped enemy. To tackle the tyranny of distance, they've almost tripled the airspace they're training in. It now stretches from Utah across Nevada into California, and for the first time over the Pacific Ocean. All the nations involved bring their own expertise to the party, and this problem of distance means what the British bring is key.
Yesterday at 7 in the morning.
I think that's awesome, you know what I'm saying? Because each country's right going to bring, like she said, their own, I guess, their own great things about them. You know what I'm saying? Their own skill set. God, I don't know why I couldn't think of a better term. They couldn't bring their own skill. They all bring their own skill set. They all skill sets, their own specialties. I'm gonna stop talking because I can't say words.
This means what the British bring is key.
Yesterday before yesterday at 7 in the morning fixing a pod.
The Voyager is the RAF's air-to-air refueling tanker. It's basically a civilian airliner with a few handy military adaptations. It has 2 underwing pods for refueling fast jets with an additional center hose for larger aircraft. It can refuel 2 jets at a time, delivering half a ton of fuel a minute, with each jet taking around 5 minutes to refuel. It complements the US tanker, the KC-135, which uses a single rigid boom and is better for refueling bombers and larger aircraft.
Hose is about 99 feet long, and you'll just see the basket tucked up in there, and it'll come out behind the aircraft and just sit in the airflow here, and then the receivers come up with their probes, and then their job is to prod their probes into the basket at about 400 miles an hour.
The Voyager is effectively a force multiplier, enabling aircraft to stay airborne for longer. She's therefore critical to this year's red flag.
That's crazy.
So although this, to all intents and purposes, looks exactly like a civilian airliner, we are essentially an international airborne fuel station. We hang out on the edge of the training area, ready, waiting to refuel the British Typhoons, the US Marine Corps F-35Bs, and the Royal Australian Air Force and the US Navy's Growlers.
God dang!
Okay, so we're going to expect a couple of Typhoons in the next 20 minutes. And then the second wave, we've got some F-35s coming. Busy. It is very busy. I mean, these guys are just so busy. So I just try not to talk to them. Yes, they do.
It's not long before the first customers arrive. Up front, the mission systems operator controls the refueling. Today, the Voyager has 50 tons of fuel to deliver to 18 aircraft in around 90 minutes.
50 tons of... My God! That is an incredible amount of fuel.
Has 50 tons of fuel to deliver to 18 aircraft.
That's so cool, though. That's so cool.
The job of the pilot
90
is to
minutes?
fly straight and level.
Very still, very steady, very predictable. We don't want them to be disorientated while they're around the aircraft. We want to provide a nice steady platform for them to come and get their fuel. As you can imagine, it's like a big flexible hose. It bounces around if there's any bumps or turbulence. So it's hard enough as it is, so anything we can do to make it easy for them, we will. The jets come and formate on the left-hand wing. That's kind of like the holding area. And then two at a time, they'll come one behind each hose. They'll then connect when they get the green light to say they can take their fuel. When they're finished, they'll disconnect and then they move off to the right-hand wing, which is kind of the holding area before they leave. And then they'll climb up above us and head back to their fight.
Ah!
The Voyager is a very critical enabling asset, what we call a high-value asset. So what we tend to do is make sure that the Voyager is protected.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking as an enemy, that's the first thing you got to target. Is is the plane that can refuel everybody else. That's the key to, that'd be the key one to target. But yeah, I'm definitely sure it's very, very well protected, and you could target it, but chances that's going to be the hardest one to take down for good reason.
Near the enemy forces, and we always want to have blue forces, fighters, in between the Voyager and the enemy. So we would have fighters protecting the Voyager, we'd have fighters up front fighting the enemy, and we'd also probably have fighters on the Voyager refueling as well.
Whilst we brought our Typhoons and tanker, the Australians came with their Growlers. The EA-18G Growler is an electronic attack aircraft designed to scramble enemy communications.
Oh, really?
Exercise for Australia. For us, it really includes incorporating into packages of up to 60 or 70 aircraft to achieve various mission sets. Our task or our mission set is really to enhance the survivability and lethality of the joint coalition force, and we do that by denying or degrading or deceiving enemy communications or RAF equipment to make sure that the Typhoons, for example, can achieve their mission set.
I like that.
It's not just the scenario putting the visitors to the test. The cold winter desert also has its challenges.
Well, it's used to being in such a warm climate, and now it's like freezing, and we're just like, oh, what is it going to do now? We always figure it out. It's great. They may look simple, but they're really not. There is so much that's gone into them, and so much information that you've got to learn about it to be able to fix it or troubleshoot it.
As the Allies evolve, so too does the enemy. To keep coalition forces on their toes, Nellis Air Base has a unit of resident baddies. Their job is to provide red air, in other words, to get amongst the blue friendly forces and do all they can to disrupt them. Last year, they became even more lethal when they were joined by a new squadron of F-35s, headed up by Commander Norto. This is their first international red flag.
This is cool.
To a certain degree. I think the baseline you start as your best fighter pilot that you can be is the absolute baseline, whether from the enemy or from the good side. But then now you have to put yourself in the mindset of the enemy, that you're hitting the missile launch, the simulated missile launch button against your friends there, and you can't be afraid to do that, because any hesitation in doing that means that your friend is not getting the best training that they can possibly.
Facts. I don't know if it relates, but I know, like, when I used to play basketball in high school, I always had a friend. We took it when we had to go against each other at practice. we always took it easy on each other because practice was already hard enough. So we definitely took it easy on each other. But when we got in games, like, and I faced the other team was not taking it easy on me. They were taking it easy on us. So it actually hurt. Yeah, I feel like we always took it easy on each other. But yeah, in these scenarios, you can't afford to hesitate. You can't afford to try to take it easy in these scenarios because, like he said, the pilots aren't getting the best training that they possibly can if you hesitate. So I definitely understand what he's talking about.
The best training that they can possibly get.
Another day, another mission.
They need to be snug so that when you're pulling G in the aircraft, these pants inflate and squeeze the blood back up to your torso and into your brain, so you, you don't lose consciousness under high G. They need to be tightly fitted. After a few weeks in America, is a challenge to get on in a hurry.
Do you have to set yourself going out for SOT?
You certainly need to put yourself in the right frame of mind. Also, they have rock music in here, which helps as well. Get into the mood, clear the mind. Yeah, out here you get a kind of a big match mindset. So with so many people watching as well, you don't want to let each other down, and you want to give the best performance you can. So absolutely, I definitely still get nervous.
I love that.
Rivalry with the Americans and the Australians as well, at all?
No, not at all. We just want to get the bad guys.
There you go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
As the B-52 strategic bombers depart first, then the tankers, then the fast jets follow. There seems little doubt amongst the 3,000 or so deployed that red flag is working. You said you'd only died once, is that?
Yes, so do we have to talk about that? It was my first mission. I was taken aback by the aggressiveness of our adversary. I haven't died since, so I learned my lesson, I like to think.
I was the last guy to get gas for my flight, and I look over to my left, and I see 4 Typhoons over to my left. It was just, a surreal moment. I couldn't believe that whatever choices in my life brought me to that moment. It was beautiful to see. I feel exactly where I want to be.
So dope.
It just feels right being here.
As red flag draws to a close, coalition forces prepare for the long journey home, and Nevada looks to future red flags, which may be conducted entirely at sea. Panicking Forces News, Nellis Air Base, Nevada.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I think that's super dope training, though. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy D Neal, out.